Hello there, I'm Red Blanchard, and it's Wednesday, January 19th, 2011, and here's what I think today. Well, today I decided I would tell the story of the day I flew a military airplane. Yes, I'm not a pilot. I did take one lesson years later, but this time was during the war. It was Christmas, 1943. I was stationed up in Fresno as a temporary assignment with the Air Corps, and Christmas came along, and my brother, who was a Marine pilot, decided to fly up there to Fresno in a military plane, and he picked me up, flew down to Goleta. That's where he was stationed with the Marine Corps. We flew from Fresno to Goleta, then took a car to visit my grandparents on Christmas. Well, the flight in the military plane, which was a SNJ. Now, that's the same thing as an AT-6 in the Air Corps. The Navy called it an SNJ. It's a single motor plane with about a 600 horsepower engine, and it has two seats. The pilot sits in the front and somebody else in the back. So there I was in the back, riding along with my brother driving the plane. He was a Marine pilot. Flew all through the war in fighter planes, landing on carriers, all that dangerous stuff. That's another story, but he spent the whole war out in the Pacific. He got shot down a few times, but he never got hurt, never got a scratch, made it through the whole war in one piece. Anyway, this time he picked me up at Fresno. It was really kind of funny because he came into the, I guess they call it the orderly room, where the man in charge was sitting there at the desk, an enlisted man, and my brother came in there with me and said he wanted to take me to visit my grandparents on Christmas. And naturally, this officious little corporal in there, he said, "No, you can't. Nobody gets to go anywhere on Christmas." And my brother says to him, "You're not very observant, young man." And then you realize my brother was an officer, so he had to stand up and salute. And then he said, "Okay, you can go visit your grandparent on Christmas." That's the power officers have. So we take off on this SNJ plane, which, by the way, this wasn't the first time I'd ever flown. Before the war, I'd flown plenty in DC-3s. I'll tell you about that some other time. Anyway, we take off on this SNJ, head from Fresno down to Goleta, which is near Santa Barbara. And on the way down, I asked my brother, "Can I drive the plane?" And they had a stick in the middle, it didn't have a steering wheel. It had two pedals and a stick. And he said, "Sure." He said, "You grab a hold of that stick and you can fly the plane." Well, he had it all trimmed. I didn't know about this. He had it all what they call trimmed out. So it would go in a straight line without you doing anything. Well, as soon as I grabbed a hold of that stick, I figured, well, I've got a hold of it. You're supposed to move it. So I moved the thing, and then the airplane started moving all around, and before that, it was flying just as straight and steady without nobody touching it. So I learned anyway that if you move the stick a certain way, you can make the plane go back and forth, and I had a lot of fun playing around with it for a few minutes. And then he said, "How'd you like to do a loop-the-loop?" Well, I'd never thought I would like to do one, but I was game. I said, "Okay, go ahead." So he, in order to get the thing going fast enough to do a loop-loop, you got to dive first, build up a lot of speed, and then you do this loop. Well, when he did this loop, I was scared to death. I was yelling into the intercom, how scared I was, blah, blah. He was laughing the whole time. Anyway, we made it down to Santa Barbara, okay, Goleta Marine Base. And then we drove the car down to Los Angeles and visited our grandparents over Christmas. And the next day, maybe the same day, I don't remember, we went back up there to Goleta and got the same plane, and he flew me back up to Fresno again. And the next day I got shipped out of Fresno. That was only a temporary, what was the name of that? Some kind of a temporary place where people get sent when they're on the way to someplace else. Anyway, I got transferred out of there back down to Marchfield and Riverside, which I really enjoyed. That was a wonderful place to be. Anyway, I got the chance to fly a military airplane. I grabbed a hold of the stick and the plane went crazy. My brother had a good laugh, and I had a lot of fun. And that's the time I flew a military airplane. And I'm Red Blanchard. I hope you enjoyed this story. I wish you could have had the same fun I did. And that's what I think today, and who knows what it'll be tomorrow. And so long until then.